All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dave Kauffman, and I'm coming to you live from my home in Sarasota. So grateful to be with you this morning, this afternoon, rather. And I've got Facebook Live, I've got YouTube and Instagram. So when you see me, look over here. That means I'm looking at you, Instagram. So hopefully you guys will understand why I'm not looking at you dead in the eye. So, yes, today I have a subject. It's called Benefits of Thinking Positively and how to do it. And so I'm going to give you 8 tips on how to think positively. Emanuela, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. And let's make sure that we're going live here on Instagram. I don't see anything happening, but if you guys can see me on Instagram, let me know. All right. Yeah, we're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, with everything that's happening in the world with COVID and everything that's happening here in the U.S. with the craziness of our politics and the it looks like a recount, all of this stuff, a lot of people are getting depressed. COVID, I just challenge you to go on Google and just start typing in dealing with and see what pops up. Just all you have to do is dealing with and then see what pops up. You're going to see depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. People are being depressed because of what's happening. The fact that we're asked to cover up and you can't see smiles. I mean, so one of the most important things that you can do is to smile with people. All right, let me just check on Instagram here because something doesn't look quite right. It doesn't feel like we're live. Hit story. Checking connection. Now we're live on Instagram. Welcome to the show on Instagram. I'm also on YouTube and Facebook. So I'm splitting screens here, so that's why I look back and forth to both of them. But the topic today is going to be about benefits of thinking positively and how to do it. I'm going to give you 8 tips. So I just realize that this time, 2020, all around the world, is a tough year for a lot of people. Lots of depression, anxiety, and all of this stuff. So thanks, guys, for joining us on Instagram here. A lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of suicides. It's crazy what's happening, and it's important that we don't become demoralized with what's happening. It's important that we see each other. It's important that we touch each other. It's important that we make an impact on each other. And what I'm scared of is, and I'm not going to get into any kind of conspiracy theories about all of this stuff, but what I'm scared of is the result of being separated, the result of social distancing, the result of having to wear masks is going to have a bigger, a worse impact on society than we have ever thought. Probably more than COVID itself. We are not meant to be separated. We are not meant to have our face covered. We are meant to see smiles. It's the most universal language of all countries, all languages. It's the most universal. Every country smiles when they're happy. Every person smiles when they're happy. A smile is a universal language, and you can't see it with a mask on. And therefore, our positivity, our anxiety positivity has gone down, and our anxiety has gone up. And that bothers me. I've had several conversations with people that, at places where they work and they have big masks on, and they say, I wish you could see that I'm actually smiling at you. Some people, when they smile, only their face, their mouth moves. Other people, their eyes smile. Okay, so and I did a test. I was on a flight one time, and I was wearing a mask, and I took a selfie of me actually smiling. And I put on Facebook, I said, am I smiling or am I not smiling? And the majority of the people said I'm not smiling, but I was actually smiling. And so I've noticed that a lot of people are actually making a concerted effort into like smiling with their mask on. They go, their eyes light up. And it's important. It's important. We are meant to have feelings and emotions shared with each other. And that's important. And so I started thinking about what does society, what do my listeners need to hear? Not what do they want to hear. There's thousands of things that I would rather talk about. I would rather talk about politics. I would rather talk about corruption. I would rather talk about the lack of integrity in our government. But I want to, and I need to talk about how to recondition our minds to think positively. And so I wondered, is there any health benefits to thinking positively? So I Googled, what are the benefits of thinking positively? And I found a website, and it's healthline.com, healthline.com. And it says there's benefits of thinking positively. And then it asks this question: are you a glass half empty or half full sort of person? Studies has demonstrated that both can impact your physical and mental health. Physical and mental health, depending whether you think positively or negatively. And we all know this. Okay, and it says that being a positive thinker is the better of the two. A recent study followed 70,000 women from 2004 to 2012 and found those who were optimistic had a significantly lower risk of dying from several major causes of death, including heart disease, stroke, cancer, including breast, ovarian, lung, and colorectal cancers, infection, and respiratory disease. Respiratory disease. Other proven benefits of thinking positively include better quality of life. Now, how many of you want a better quality of life? I know I do. I wake up in the morning and say, how can I make my life better? How can I make my wife's life better? How can I make my clients' lives better? How can I make my neighbor's life better? You can also have higher energy levels. Woo! How many of you want more energy? I mean, my wife and I were flying. We were at an airport waiting on our flight, and there was this little, like a 2-year-old, the next aisle over, and the kid had so much energy. And I told my wife, watch them. They're going to sit right behind us. And I don't think they did, but this kid had so much energy, and the parents were like trying to get it out of him and let him run out in the airport before they get into the tube. And it worked because it was fantastic, at least, or else they were way in the back. Anyway, we like high energy. Better psychological and physical health. Psychological, better mental health. If you think positively, you're going to have a better mentality, a better mental health. And you're also probably going to have a better physical health. Faster recovery from injury or illness. Fewer colds. If you find yourself having cold after cold after cold, my guess is you have a high stress. And here's the thing. We're going to notice this a little bit later. Stress is part of negative thinking. Lower rates of depression. And I just challenge you to Google, just start Googling dealing with and see what pops up. It's a list of anxiety, depression, suicide, all of this. Better stress management and coping skills. And get this, longer life span. How many of you want to live longer? I know I do. I want to live a long time. I want to have a healthy, vibrant life. I want to live a long time. Positive thinking isn't magic, and it won't make all of your problems disappear. What it will do is make problems seem more manageable and help you approach hardships in a more positive and productive way. All right. So we're going to talk about how to think positive thoughts and how to be a positive. What does it mean to be a positive-minded person? The Bible says that a double-minded man is unstable in all of his way, and man can be mankind. You can't be positive and negative at the same time. You can't have a positive thought and a negative thought about the same thought. You can't split it. A double-minded, positive and negative it's a unstable man. All right. So positive thinking can be achieved through a few different techniques that have been proven effective, such as positive self-talk and positive imagery. There's 8 tips that I want to share with you. And I want to share with you these 8 tips so that you can start changing the way you think. You have to change the way you think before you can change the way you do. And if you want to change the way you do so that you can have other things, you have to change the way you think first. Okay? So, tip number 1. And before we get into tip number 1, I want to just say this. I am not telling you that it's all about love and energy and pleasant thoughts and, no, you're going to have some days that aren't good. Mama said you're going to have some days that you're not going to win. You're going to have some days that you have a car accident. And I want you to be realistic, and I don't want you to just, put your head in the sand and say everything's great when things are not great. We're in a tough time, but it's the amount of it's what you think and how long you allow yourself to go to a negative place. If you live in mud, eventually you're going to get mud in every ear, eye, nose, mouth, and everything. But sometimes you have to get into the mud. I want to just balance that out and just help you to understand that it's not all about just peace, love, and harmony all life, and you live in this utopia. Not at all. We go through downtimes. We go through trials. Our marriages suffer. We break up. We get divorced. Life. It's life. But if we can start thinking differently, that's how you get out of this jail of depression and negativity, is by thinking different. Emanuela says, talk to yourself beautiful stories. That's right. You have to tell yourself a different story. Some of the most important conversations that you can ever have outside of a conversation with God is the conversation you have with yourself. What do you tell yourself? Do you tell yourself you're such an idiot when you mess up? Because here's what I know. Your mind believes what your mouth says. Your mind believes what your mouth says. And after a while, your mouth believes what your mind thinks. And so it's important that you focus on the good. It's important that you tell yourself great stories, the truth, speak the truth in advance. I remember, and this is a shout out to a friend of mine, Lisa Marie Hines. I don't know if you're watching, but I remember the day that she told me, don't you ever say that again. And I was like, and here's what I said. I said, I'm not good at math. And she said, don't you ever say that again. And I said, well, I don't want to lie and say I'm good at math. She said, you don't have to lie. Just change the thought, change the narrative. And she said, say this, say, I'm getting better at math. And I started doing that, and it took a little bit for me to start changing. But after a while, I started seeing that numbers can be fun. Numbers can be truthful. I mean, not truthful, but it can bring out truth. Numbers used to scare me, but they don't scare me anymore because I'm getting better at math. And I refuse to say that I am no longer good at something or that I'm not good at something. I always frame it in a way that I say I'm getting better or I'm learning to become. And so it's a way of changing the way your thoughts are. So just that little bit of a clarification that I'm never one to say that bad things aren't going to ever happen to good people. We live life, we live life. We stub our toes and, electricity goes out. Life isn't always perfect. So let me just get to the tips here. Number one, focus on good things. Okay, this kind of goes along with what we talked about, telling yourself the good stories that Emmanuel has said. But we have to focus on what is good. If you focus on negative, guess what you're going to become? You're going to become negative. You're going to become what you think on. You're going to become what you eat. If you eat healthy foods, you're going to get healthier. If you eat junk food, you're going to get junkier. Like junk in your trunk. Yeah. You're going to, it's just that whatever you ingest, you take on. It becomes part of you. So what do you think? What do you listen to? What do you read? What news source do you get your news from? It all matters. Because how to think positive things, you have to focus on good things. Good things. Challenging situations and obstacles are part of life. And when you're faced with one, focus on the good things. All right? I say this almost every call, every talk that I do, every show that I do, and I quote my good friend Ron Klein, the inventor of the magnetic strip on your credit card. He says, there is a gift behind every challenge. So don't shy away from the challenge. Go look for the gift. Obliterate the challenge and find the gift. If you play video games, the gifts are hardly ever just right there for the taking. You have to accomplish. You have to go to the next level before you get the gift. And the same way in life, if you want to get the good stuff, you got to go through the bad stuff. And so you're going to have challenges in life, but punch through and try to find the good in those challenges. Challenging times is so that you can become better. You cannot have a positive if you don't first have a negative. You have to have that balance. So you have to focus on the good things. No matter how small or seemingly insignificant they seem, if you look for it, you can always find the proverbial silver lining in every cloud, even if it's not immediately obvious. For example, if someone cancels plans or whatever, focus on how it frees up time for you to catch up on a TV show or other activities you enjoy. Okay, so don't waste your time on TV. I'm telling you, that's just what the article said here. So if something, I just had somebody cancel today. What did I do? I went out and I did stuff that I needed to do. I was able to, okay, this is great. Somebody canceled. Now I have an opportunity to either do something bigger, greater, stronger, or more relaxing. Ricardo Bonella, welcome. Harvey Miller, thank you. Welcome. All of you guys on Instagram, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And be sure to give me some thumbs up, loves, and shares. Go ahead, share this video, because I'm going to tell you, this message needs to get out to a lot of people. I want this to be one of my most shared videos ever, because I believe this message is the most needed right now, more than ever before. So please share the video on wherever you can share it. And feel free to write in the comments as well. So listen to this. Number 2, practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. Before we go into that, I was gonna read something from the Bible, Philippians, about the last point about focusing on good things. Philippians 4 verse 8, it says, finally, brothers, and it means sisters, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Don't think about the garbage. Don't think about the negativity. Don't think about trash, because that's what you'll take. Think about the good things. Now I want to jump back to verse 6, same chapter, Philippians 4, verse 6. Do not be anxious about anything. Anything. I taught on this before. Angie Dunn Riley, welcome. Thank you. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication. And here's the key, with thanksgiving. We're going to notice that in step number, 2, the next one. With thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. Where does depression start? Where does anxiety start? It starts in your mind. And gratitude is the antidote to depression and anxiety. You cannot be grateful and anxious at the same time. You can't be thankful and worried at the same time. And then verse 8, it says, finally, brethren, what is everything that are true, honorable, just, pure? You got to think about the good things in life. It's so important. And I want to just show you something that I created. We'll put it up on the screen here. And unfortunately, Instagram can't see it and the people on the conference call can't see it. But here is the diagram. I call it the FAPP Principle. I've taught on this before. FAPP Principle. Faith and fear. Faith leads to anticipation. Anticipation leads to purpose. And purpose leads to power. On the other hand, fear leads to anxiety. Anxiety leads to paralysis, and paralysis leads to prey, Prey. And the only way you can get out of being a prey is to pray. Okay? If you find yourself paralyzed, you're going to become prey. You're going to become a target. And the only way you can get out of being a target is to pray and to change your fear from faith so that you can go from prey to power. And you got to do that all the time, it seems lately. Positive thoughts lead to anticipation. Negative thoughts lead to anxiety. So I just wanted to throw that up there and let you see that for just a second there. Number 2 of the 8 tips is practice gratitude. Practicing gratitude has been shown to reduce stress, improve self-esteem, and foster resilience, even in very difficult times, kind of like COVID-19, kind of like the crazy elections that we're going through right now, kind of like everything that we are facing. Bethany Nisley, what's up? Great to hear you. Thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it. All right. So practicing gratitude. Think of people, moments, or things that bring you some kind of comfort or happiness and try to express your gratitude. Here's what I want you to do. And this brings us to point number 3. They're like first cousins right behind each other, is keep a gratitude journal. Keep a gratitude journal. So step number 1 on how to think positive thoughts is focus on the good things. Number 2 is practice gratitude. Be grateful. Verbalize it. Go around your house and say, I'm so thankful for this memory, for this gift that somebody gave me, for this dishes that was pan. I'm just making up stuff here, but I want you to be grateful. Number 3, keep a gratitude journal. Now, I've had some clients that had to deal with like depression and anxiety about their business, and I read Philippians 4, where it says with thankfulness, like let your prayers and supplications be known unto God with gratefulness, with thankfulness, and the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds. I read that and I was like, well, that's the antidote to depression, is gratefulness. And so I told several of my clients, I said, every morning, write a list of 10 things that you're truly grateful for. Truly grateful for. Make a list of 10 things every morning, and you cannot repeat yourself in a week's time. So every day for a week, it has to be a brand new list. It cannot be the same thing over and over. So, and I gave him some other things to do as far as goals to reach and more business stuff, but I was trying to get his mind right so that his life can be right. It reminds me of a story of when a daddy was busy working, and all of a sudden here comes a little kid and says, Daddy, can we go play? And Daddy says, no, can't you see, son, that I'm busy? And a little bit later, the child comes back and says, Daddy, what about now? Can we go play? Can we go play? He says, no, I'm busy working on your 401k. I'm trying to buy a yacht for the family. I'm busy providing. And you guessed it, the kid comes back about 5 minutes later and says, Dad, what about now? Can we go play? And he says, son, no. And he looks around and he grabs a magazine and he sees a picture of a man. And he tears the page out and he tears it up into about 20 pieces and says, son, here's a puzzle. Go put the man together. No, I'm sorry. He saw a picture of the world. It was a picture of the world. I'm messing up my own story. He saw the picture of a world like the globe. And he said, he tore it up into like 20 different pieces and said, son, go put this puzzle together. When you get this puzzle of the world figured out, I'll go play with you. 20 minutes later, the kid comes back holding this piece of paper made into a puzzle. And he says, Dad, I got it. I figured out the world. And the dad looked at it and it was perfect. 5 years old. And the dad said, how did you do that, son? How did you do it so quickly and perfectly? He said, it was simple, Dad. He said, when you tore the page out, I saw on the other side of the page, there was a picture of a man. And when I got the man right, the world became right. And here's what we got to do in society. Here's what we got to do in politics. Here's what we got to do in marriages. Here's what we got to do in our churches, in our homes, in our leadership, and everywhere. We have to get the man right, not the male version of man. I'm talking mankind, men and women. We have to get the man right if we want the world to become right. And we have to do that by thinking positive thoughts and keeping a gratitude journal. That's one way to keep things in perspective. What are you thankful for? So studies have found that writing down the things you're grateful for can greatly improve your optimism and sense of well-being. You can do this by writing in a gratitude journal every day or jotting down a list of things you're grateful for on days you're having a hard time. I have a client that every day he writes a letter to himself every day. And his opening small paragraph is the same. But then after that, he writes himself a letter every day telling himself how to think. And he's one of the most positive minded people. I admire this so much. And I asked him, if I can read one of them, and he went and pulled it out of his shirt and said, this is the one I wrote myself this morning. He dates it and he signs it. And I read it. It was amazing. And I said, what do you do with it? He said, at the end of the day, I tear it up and throw it away. And I almost cried because do you know how valuable those letters are going to be to his sons when he's dead and gone? Do you know how valuable those letters would be to his grandchildren when he's dead and gone? Do you know how valuable those kinds of letters and the gratefulness? And so I encouraged him and I said, please don't throw any more away. Save them, put them in a box. And he's starting to do that because he realized, and he just never thought about it, that it was for him. He was so focused on changing the way he thinks that he never even thought about I guess he never did, but I just thought it was so important that other people read these things years later. So he started saving them. And so keep a gratitude journal. Number 4, open yourself up to humor. All right. A lot of you have probably heard me talk about how comedians today are not even funny. They're crude. They're rude. They're not true humorists. I like the old-fashioned type of comedians like Jerry Clowers, Wendy Bagwell, all of those. They're clean. The comedians today are not clean. And here's what, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. We have got, as people, that we have got to start calling things the way they are and not being shut down, not being scared of truth. Truth is the most powerful thing. Truth is the change agent. If you want to change, only thing you have to do is live truth. And I don't buy this this lie that your truth is your truth and my truth is my truth. No, there is truth. There is absolutes. Okay. So we have got to start standing up, and you've got me started. Quit. Whew. Oh man. I'm fed up with being put into a box and said we have to be careful that we don't offend people. You know what? We were put into that position so that the corruption can come in. Okay. I'm done with politics. I'm not going to talk about that right now. But open yourself up to humor. All of that from about comedians then and now. But comedians aren't really funny today. They're crude and they're rude. And we got to start having true humor. Studies have found that laughter lowers stress, anxiety, and depression. It also improves coping skills, mood, and self-esteem. All right. Be open to humor in all situations. Be open to humor about yourself. That's the best kind of humor, is when you can laugh about yourself and you tell stories about yourself. That's the funniest thing ever. Okay. So be open to humor in all situations, especially the difficult ones. When you're in a difficult situation, be open for humor. Look for it. It's there. I promise. I promise. I find humor every single time I stand on a stage and look out across the crowd. I'm looking at you. You guys are funny. Some of you have lots of hair. Some of you have no hair. Some of you have big beards. Some of you have small beards. Some of you have no. People are funny. Anyway, give yourself permission to laugh. It instantly lightens the mood and makes things seem a little less difficult, even if you're not feeling it. Pretending or forcing yourself to laugh can improve your mood and lower stress. I remember as a kid, somebody found a video of a Chinese or a Japanese, I can't remember which nationality, laughing party. Okay? And you ever hear laughter is the best medicine? Well, the Japanese or the Chinese, the Asian culture believe that laughing is healthy, and it actually is. And so they got a bunch of older men in a huge circle, and the leader just started chuckling for no reason. There was no joke. There was nothing said that was funny. He just started going, yeah. And pretty soon somebody else got tickled. Okay. Reminds me of when I was sitting on the front bench in our church in Georgia Country Church, and my cousin Anthony got tickled about something that the preacher said. I can't remember what it was. And he started chuckling, and well, not chuckling. He started like giggling. And when he giggled, he really went for it. The bench started shaking, and I looked over at him and saw that he was losing it. And then I lost it. And then my cousin lost it. And we had this Japanese laughing party on the front bench of the church until my dad found out about it. And then he came up and he got me and pulled me back and sitting back with him. Okay, so you Mennonites, you'll understand that. At a certain age, you would start moving all the way up the front. At a certain age, I think around like 13, 14 years old, you could start sitting on the front bench by yourself with your buddies at church. It was kind of cool. Anyway, Bethany Nisley knows about that. All right. So Sheila Greco says, hey, Dave, keep the faith and thank you for these uplifting tips. Thank you so much for watching and sharing and all the hearts, thumbs up and all of that. Southern Mom, Matthias, Strategize Business, and Latina Forever. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. And so where were we? All right. That was a rabbit trail, but sometimes rabbits need to be chased. All right. Spend time. This is number 5. Spend time with positive people. Who you hang around with is so important. Who you hang around with is so important, because here's what you have to understand. If I spend time with negatively minded people, if I spend time with people that the glass is half empty, if I spend time with people that there's nothing going right in the world or in their life, what kind of persona, what kind of person will I become? I'm going to become more negative. All right. So Spend time with positive people. Negativity and positivity have been shown to be contagious. I remove myself from the presence of negative people. I don't care if it's negativity that supports my beliefs. I do my best to surround myself with positive people. And it might sound something like this. Yeah, that's not right, but what can we do to make it right? That's a positive person. When they stop at saying, that's not right, that's a negative person. Remove yourself. You should not have any friends that don't want you to become better. You have to surround yourself with positive-minded people. Number 6, practice positive self-talk. This is so important. Zig Ziglar called them affirmations. And it's so important that the conversations you have with yourself will shape who you become. The conversations that you have with yourself will shape who you will become. So what are you telling yourself? When you mess up, what do you tell yourself? When you win, what do you tell yourself? It is so important. Melvin Fisher says, good seeing you at the Pause Seminar in PA in August. Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for hopping on here. Enjoyed being at that event very much, and looking forward to coming back someday. All right. It was an event that I spoke at in Pennsylvania back in August. All right, here we go. Practice positive self-talk. We tend to be the hardest on ourselves and be our own worst critic. Over time, this can cause you to form a negative opinion of yourself that can be hard to shake. To stop this, you'll need to be mindful of the voice in your head and respond with positive messages, also known as positive self-talk. When you hit your thumb with a hammer, what do you say? No, don't say it. Don't say that. No. But what do we call ourselves? What do we speak? Because I've said this before, what our mouth says, our mind believes. Our mouth believes what our mind says. They feed each other either way. So you have to start talking positive things about yourself. Research shows that even a small shift in the way you talk to yourself can influence your ability to regulate your feelings, thoughts, and behavior under stress. Here's an example of positive self-talk. Instead of thinking, I really messed that up, I'll try it again a different way. The outcome is going to be the outcome, but it's how you switch your brain. It's which way are you leaning? Are you leaning toward negativity or positivity? Number 7, identify your areas of negativity. So think about and start listening to yourself and think about what areas in my life typically do I start thinking negative thoughts, and what triggers negative thoughts? What actually what comes right before you have a negative thought? The Bible says, take every thought captive. Arrest it and look at it, because there's a thought there that you need to look at, and you need to determine where it came from and why it's there and what you need to do with it. So identify areas of negativity. Take a good look at the different areas of your life and identify the ones in which you tend to be the most negative. Not sure? Ask a trusted friend or colleague. Go to somebody and say, in what areas of my life do you think that I am typically negative in? Try it. If you don't have a friend, ask somebody that is not your friend, an enemy. Number 8, start every day on a positive note. Every day on a positive note. What is the first thing you do when you wake up? I want you to start taking account. What is the first thing you do when you wake up? I'm going to tell you, one of the most powerful things you can do is wake up, stand up, clap your hands together and say, today is going to be an awesome day. Today, I'm going to make an impact on every person that I meet. Today, I'm going to wear a smile all day, even if something bad happens. Today is going to be a great day. Listen, we have the opportunity to put the frame around the picture of today. We have the opportunity to put that frame around it. And we can either frame it with positivity or negativity. Your choice. I'm going to tell you, you're going to start having better days. You're going to start having better days when you frame your day with positivity. Start telling yourself positive things. Create a ritual in which you start each day with something uplifting and positive. Here are a few ideas. Tell yourself that it's going to be a great day, or any other positive affirmation. I do this often. Listen to a happy and positive song or playlist. Share some positivity by giving a compliment or doing something nice for others. Start your day with reading the Word of God. God is the most positive being ever. And we have his words right here. And we need to start the day off reading God's word. All right. So those are the 8 things. Let me just recap them if you're just joining us. Number 1, focus on good things. You got to put good things in before good things come out. Practice gratitude. Be grateful. Number 2, keep a gratitude journal. Like once you're thankful, write it down. Open yourself to humor is number 4. Number 5, spend time with positive people. Number 6, practice positive self-talk. Number 7, identify your areas of negativity. And 8, start every day on a positive note. I want to just really quickly tell you about some side effects of negative thinking. We talked about the benefits of positive thinking, the health benefits. Gave you 8 tips, and now I want to show you what the danger of negative thoughts are. Negative thinking and the many feelings that can accompany it, such as pessimism, stress, anger, can cause a number of physical symptoms and increase your risk of disease and a shortened lifespan. Stress and other negative emotions trigger several processes in our body, including stress hormone release, metabolism, and immune function. Long periods of stress increase inflammation in your body. And this is something that I know cancer cannot live in a non-inflammation body. The only way cancer can grow or live or start is if there is inflammation. So negative thinking can help. Positive thinking can help cancer. Now, if you have cancer, that's not going to heal you, but negative thinking can cause or stress, and stress can increase inflammation in your body, which has also been implicated in a number of serious disease. Some of the symptoms of stress include headache, body aches, nausea, fatigue, difficulty sleeping. Cynicism, stress, and anger and hostility have been linked to a higher risk of heart disease, heart attack, stroke, and dementia. Guys, gals, it's important that you think positive thoughts. What is the first thing you do when you wake up? You stand up, you clap your hands, you put a big smile on your face, and you say, today is going to be an awesome day. All right? How many of you will promise to do that? Give me a thumbs up. Say, I promise. Type it in right now. I promise to do that because I want to know that I'm making your day better by this talk right here, November 5th. 2020, in the middle of COVID, in the middle of craziness, I want you to have a great day. Thank you. God bless you. We'll talk to you next week.